I think one way to keep investors on side is to bump up your dividend. And I think that was Mr. Dudley's parting gift, if I may say so. What's basically happened is that we had a whole host of oil majors come out results, starting with BP's great rival Shell and then ExxonMobil, and they all had a pretty lackluster performance. Now, what's happened is that that's by no means BP has had a 26% quarter-on-quarter drop in profits. So it's by no means a sterling performance. But what has masked it is the fact that a lot of pension funds have exposure to BP. So what does Mr. Dudley do? In his parting sort of shot, he says, we'd bump up the dividend by 10.5 US cents. So that puts a gloss over things, but that doesn't suggest that they're out of the woods.
Let's talk about his legacy, because when he took the role of CEO, it was when BP was at a particular low point, sort of recovering from the big oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. We're already in the downturn, and of course that pressure from investors to do more with renewable energy.
I think when he took over, BP was, to say it was in a spot of bother would be an understatement. The price was down to somewhere in the region of 300 pence. Mr. Dudley came in, he steadied the ship, he strategically got rid of a lot of assets, including the Forties pipeline system, which was one of those legacy systems that BP had always had in the North Sea. He steadied that ship, and then BP started to build. And then we saw last year that it ended up buying a lot of US shale assets. And on the back of that asset, its production has gone up. So that has improved the cash flow. So his legacy should certainly be that he first steadied the ship and then optimized BP's portfolio.
And also rebuilt its reputation.
Definitely so. I think, well, to a certain extent, we still talk about Exxon Valdez like it was yesterday. So it'll take a long, long time to forget the Gulf of Mexico accident. But what he's done is basically he went in there, he made all the settlements, and then basically sort of drew a line under that affair so that BP could move on, as we found out last year.
So tough act to follow. So now the new chief executive, what do you think is going to be top of his checklist?
I think we shall hear more from him on the 12th of February, but I think the top of the checklist would be to, again, re-gear BP. We've seen moves from BP towards BP Charge Master, EV, electric vehicles, gearing his portfolio more and more towards aviation and petrochemicals, and go for strategic high-volume upstream plays rather than sort of legacy assets like the North Sea, etc.
It's interesting to see, isn't it, these big companies just repositioning themselves, reimagining themselves and moving away from being pure play.
Absolutely. I mean, we heard last week that the Church of England, of all people, had taken their pension fund away to an index that benchmarks against climate performance. And I think what Ben Looney will be attempting to do is to re-gear BP towards that sort of more climate conducive oil and gas major, if I may say.